This reset is by far the best way to make meaningful changes in your life in order to turn it into something that you enjoy and that you can be proud of. I have completed this reset countless times, and every single time I reset, my life improves for the better. I'm happier and I feel more on top of things, and I'm more grateful for my life in general. Sometimes it only takes small changes to have a big impact on your overall well-being. You might do this reset if you're feeling a bit stuck or in a bit of a rut, or maybe you schedule it in every year or every quarter or every month, whatever works for you. This reset is all about increasing the positive and decreasing the negative, finding out what is working well and what needs more work. I'll explain how it all works as I go through my life reset template in Notion. Each section has an explanation of how to complete it within the header toggle. So you just tap the arrow next to the heading in order to read the instructions for the relevant section. The first section of your reset is the actions section. This section will actually be filled out as you go through the reset. Most of the sections will result in multiple actions you're wanting to implement, and it can be super helpful to have one catchment zone to copy these into. We'll come back to this section once our reset is complete, and the actions within this will form an action plan that we can follow in order to make the changes we're wanting to make. The next section is all about your wins. Here is where you make a list of all the wins that you've experienced since your last reset. Or if this is your first reset, you can list wins from the previous few weeks or months. Sometimes it can be hard to remember all the things that we do. You might think you don't have many wins, but as you start looking through these various places, you start to find them. You can look through your calendar, the photos on your phone, your social media accounts, your journal, your old to-do lists, anywhere that you document your life. Looking through all of these various places can help spark your memory. You can also try brainstorming the different areas of your life, so wins from your creative endeavors, your social life, your financial situation, your career, your life admin. Your wins can be anything. It's simply a list of all the things that make you feel good about your life. If you're considering whether something's a win, it's a win. Write it down. Here are some examples of wins you might write down. Finding a new book that I'm obsessed with, booking a dinner date with my bestie, submitting my assignment on time, working out a new way for me to get all of my washing done in one day, or watching the sunrise on my morning walks. The next part is all about reflection. It's about how you have been feeling and how you want to feel moving forward. Feelings are fleeting. It's impossible to feel positive and happy all the time. Keeping this in mind, this reflection aims to move you in the right direction. If you haven't been feeling good for an extended period of time, it's important to acknowledge that with self-compassion and take steps to get closer to the way you want to feel. You may want to consider reaching out to family and friends for support or seek professional help. Many people feel like their situations aren't bad enough to warrant seeking help, but I believe that everyone can benefit from mental health support. So this section starts out with a broad question. How have you been feeling? You can answer this however you like. It's an opportunity to brain dump all the things you've been feeling recently. This is the kind of stuff that you don't tell the shop assistant when they ask you how your day's been. They want a polite, good thanks, but this is where you outline all of the nitty-gritty details of how you're actually feeling. Once you've brain dumped your thoughts, I find it helpful to break it up into 4 sections. How you've been feeling physically, emotionally, mentally, and generally. I find that most things are covered by the first 3 sections, but sometimes there might be something important to you that's missed, and so that's why I have the generally section. If you don't feel like you need any of these sections, feel free to remove them. So now that you've noted down how you have been feeling in each of these areas, it's time to start looking to the future and how you want to feel. I'll just go through the physical intention section because they're all pretty much the same. So it starts off by asking how you want to feel physically and then why you want to feel that way. And then it asks how important this area is in relation to the other areas. This question helps you to prioritize the actions that come out of this section. And then here is the most important question. What actions can you take to move towards this feeling? Now it's phrased as move towards because it's not about either feeling this or not feeling it. It's about in general in your everyday life, are you closer to the feeling you're wanting or further away? Because our feelings and our moods and our energy are always fluctuating, it's important not to be too strict about how you're wanting to feel in any given moment, but just a general sense whether you're heading in the right direction or not. So for example, if I wanted to feel physically more relaxed and flexible, then I might note down things like do more yoga sessions at home, or take more baths, or stretch when I wake up and when I'm about to go to bed. Once you've written down your actions, it's time to think about what obstacles you might face moving towards the way you're wanting to feel. Maybe you have a lot of deadlines at work that are making you feel tense and stressed. Or maybe your mornings get really busy and so you're more likely to skip stretching in the morning. Once you have your list of obstacles, it's then time to add further actions you can take that will help to overcome these obstacles if they arise. After you complete all of the sections, it's time to then copy your actions into the actions toggle at the top of the reset. And then we move on to our problem hierarchy. I'm sure similar things have been done before, but this is something that I came up with when I realized the never-ending cycle of problems in life. You just solve your biggest problem and it feels like another one pops up out of nowhere. I made a whole video discussing the problem hierarchy, which I'll leave linked in the description below. Your problem hierarchy is an opportunity to bring your problems into the spotlight. We often resist our biggest problems because of just that. They're big. They may be overwhelming or might have plagued us for longer than any other problem, and so it seems like nothing will resolve them. But you might surprise yourself if you take this opportunity to focus in one problem at a time and actively work on ways to solve them. It might not be easy, but you're more likely to solve your problem by actively working on it than ignoring it and hoping it disappears. So, what is the main problem you're facing right now? And then what comes in second, and then third? After working out your top problems, then you can list your smaller problems that have been bothering you but aren't at the top of the list. Lastly, and the most important step, what are you going to do towards solving these problems? Your focus should be on tackling the larger problems first, but we all know how little problems can also pile up and have a huge impact on our well-being. So first you list the problem you're facing. So for example, you might have been feeling tired and exhausted all the time. That's your number one problem. Then you brainstorm a list of actions that you can and will take towards overcoming this problem. Instead of listing the things you think you should do, try to stick to the things that you actually will do. Oftentimes, we actually know when we're not going to do something, but we write it down anyway because we think we should. If you notice yourself writing something down that you know you're probably not going to do, just remove it and replace it with an action that's more realistic. For each problem, there are also a list of reflective questions. These help to analyze the problem and work out what options you might have. The next section is what you want to increase, what you want to decrease, and what you want to create. You've probably heard of the continue, start, stop method. Well, this is just a slight variation of wording for pretty much the exact same concept. Increase the positive things in your life, decrease the negative things, and create the things that you feel are missing. It is possible to design a life that you love. It might take time and trial and error, but it's so worth it. The next section is the self-care pillars. The important thing about this section, and pretty much every section, is to answer the questions objectively without judgment. Each section has a brief explanation within its header toggle, discussing its importance to your overall well-being. You can choose to either answer the reflective questions or do your own reflection on each pillar. I've also made a video on the 6 self-care pillars, which I'll leave linked in the description below. The last section of the reset is just any additional reflection you're wanting to make. This reset covers a lot, but there may be things that it wasn't able to capture. This is your opportunity to get it all out of your mind and into your reset, so that you're able to look at it objectively and determine what actions to take. So now that you've filled out the reset, it's not over just yet. It's time to go back through, if you haven't been already, and pull out all of the actions that you've written down and paste them into the action section at the top. So now it's time to create your action plan for all the things you're wanting to do. This plan is going to be unique to you. It's got to work with the brain you have. This may mean breaking it up into different categories or entering it into your various productivity systems that you've already got. To-do lists, calendars, routines. To help build your action plan, there are prompts to help guide you. Questions like, how big is the task and does it need to be broken down further? Is it a once-off task or is it a habit that you have to work on consistently? Are there related actions that you can group together, like things requiring accountability? Or maybe all your sleep-related actions. How are you going to be prompted or triggered to do each action? Are you going to use your calendar or reminders on your phone? And what obstacles may you face in completing these actions? Some of these obstacles you may have listed elsewhere in the reset, so you can copy these across. Now you have your action plan, it's time to take action. Start implementing your plan and see what helps, what might need changing or tweaking, and be sure to remember to approach this with self-compassion and no judgment. Each time you complete this reset, You can copy its contents into its own toggle or subpage, and then over time, you'll have your resets to look back over and reflect and find any patterns to determine if you need to make changes in the future. There are some things that have been in my resets for years, but every time I reset, I feel like I'm taking little steps in the right direction, and these areas of my life are definitely improving. I hope that this reset is a catalyst for positive change in your life. If you've never done a reset before, please let me know how it goes and what your favorite part was about the experience. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.